A very good morning to everyone. Before we start our discussion, we would like to introduce ourselves first. I'm Ru Mei, the moderator of this discussion.
I'm Suet Wen, an industrial expert.
I'm Fazliaton. I am academic expert.
And I'm Jasmin with Ariffin from Policy expert.
So now let's start our discussion on topic today. Are natural ingredient always better than artificial ingredient or additive? Natural ingredients occur naturally in some food and in plant. They are usually extract for other use, and artificial additives are not present naturally in some food, and they are made synthetically. As we know, natural additive and artificial additive are commonly used in our daily life and in industrial. So, what are the function of the both natural and artificial ingredients, and is example relevant to its particular function? Can you tell me about that?
Sure. I will explain about natural additive. Natural additive can be natural antioxidant, natural antimicrobial, natural color, and natural sweetener. Firstly, natural antioxidant is used to prevent off flavor by oxidation of fats. For example, is ascorbic acid they used in the lipids and oil, and then is beta carotene they used in egg and dairy product, and next is tocopherol that used in meat and bacons. And secondly is natural antimicrobial. For example, is natamycin and lactose peroxide. Natamycin is used in cheese and sausage, and then is lactose peroxide that used in milk, fruit juice, and cottage. And third is natural color. Natural color is used to make the food look more appealing and appetizing. This is one important factor when choosing the foods at the chef. For example, for natural color is annatto that used in bread, rice, cake, snack, and meat product, and then is carotenoid that used in sausage, that used in sauce, marinade, and milk. And lastly is natural sweetener. They also use for to make food look more appealing and appetizing. For example, for natural sweetener is tagatos that used in ice cream, chocolate, and cereal. Thank you.
Okay, for me, let me explain about the artificial additive. For me, the artificial additive is the currently used in the widely used in the world. So for me, the uses of the artificial additive is as a food preservative, as the artificial preservative. The artificial as a preservative to preserve the food of the products. Such as the nitrate that we use in the sodium nitrate that when we add in the meat and the smoked fish, it will prevent the growth of the microorganism such as Clostridium botulinum. And then for coloring, for the artificial coloring, the color that used which is to enhance the color of the food products. For example, is the tartazine that used to impart another food product, such as to give the yellow and orange color for the snack and the energy drinks. And then I also want to for additive flavoring, it used to impart another flavor, such as the benzaldehyde that used to impart to produce the flavors such as the cherry cherry flavoring. And then for us to know that the we also can improve our texture of the food products, such as for the azido carbonamide is used in the food such as bread to strengthen and to give us texture for the dough in a food bread.
So now I have a clear image about what is natural additive and artificial additive. There are many kinds of natural additive and also artificial additive, and each of them have its own particular functions. So would Suet Wen like to add on about this?
Yes, food additive can be divided into two categories. That is the direct food additive and the indirect food additive. Direct food additive are those that added into the food for the specific purpose, such as the xanthan gum used in the salad dressing, while the indirect food additive are those that become part of the food in trace amount due to its packaging, storage, and handling. And to sum up, food additive is have been used for many years to preserve the flavor and the color and to color the food. And these food additive have played an important role in reducing serious nutritional deficiency among consumers. The food additive also ensure the availability of the color and the flavor to meet the customer expectation. Thank you.
Thanks for giving a lot of example and great explanation about the natural and artificial additive. So let's move on to the similarity of the natural additive and the artificial additive. So what is the same on the both natural and artificial additive, and what is the policy that must be concerned when using the additive?
For me, I believe we all cannot differentiate which is the artificial and natural additive to consume another product. So for me, it's the similarities in the food in the artificial both additive, which is the brain and the tongue cannot can think and can interpret where they have the same taste, the same flavor. So when we consume it, we can have the both of them have a same flavor. So the next is the color. The color of the both additive have the same. Actually, we can see that when we buying some jams or another chocolate, we can see that both of the product have the same color, whether it's a additive of the natural where it's natural and artificial additive. And then they both are not derived from a petroleum, such as both are not have a raw material from the petroleum, so it's safe for us to consume. And that's all.
Okay, since now you just talk about the similarity of both artificial and natural additives, and now I'd like to know about the differences in both natural and artificial additives in terms of its function, application, and so on. So could you all explain about that?
Sure, moderator. As you know, natural additive is occur naturally in plant. They are extracted and put into the other food, while artificial additive does not occur naturally. They are made synthetically for a certain purpose. For example, for natural additive based on food color is caramelization sugar that used in coloring in cola, while for artificial additive is tartazine that is made synthetic flavoring that used in sweets to make them yellow. And based on the flavor, it can be differentiated by on how they are produced. For example, is amyl acetate. It can be both natural and artificial. When it distilled from banana with a solvent, amyl acetate is natural flavor, while when it produced with a mixture of vinegar and amyl acetate by adding sulfuric acid as a catalyst, amyl acetate is artificial flavor.
Natural ingredients are derived from the natural sources such as the soy sauce and the corn to provide lecithin to maintain the product consistency, and the beef provide the beets powder used in the flavor coloring, and other ingredients that does not occur in nature should be synthetically produced as an artificial additive. And some more other ingredients that occur in nature but can manufacture artificially and produce economically to produce a more artificial product with more greater quality and be nature counterpart. For example, the vitamin C or ascorbic acid can derive from the orange or produced in the laboratory.
So now I have better understanding about the similarity and also the differences on the natural additive and also the artificial additive. Really appreciate about the short but informative sharing about that. So since that both additives are commonly used in our daily life, so what is the advantages that we adding the additive into our food product?
For natural additive that have a very huge advantage for us to know. First is the natural additive is used to prevent the lumpy of the food products, such as for the flour we use some anti-caking agent to prevent the lumpy of the product. And then as we know, the natural products are derived from the natural sources which is from animal or plant. So when the antioxidant we can have from the plants that can prevent us from the oxidation of the food, so the food will last longer and prevent from food deterioration. And it also enhance the color of the food products, and as food natural additive also give us some nutrient from the nutrient additive. So that's all for me.
I want to add some for advantage for artificial additive. The advantage is it can help the food to last longer because they make the food more acidic. They will lowering the moisture level of the food, and then they will lower the ripening process, so that they will prevent the microorganism to grow on the food. And next is the advantage is they will reduce the spoilage of the food by adding the additive on the food. It will help the food to keep fresh and prevent the spoilage.
As we know that we consume food additive every day, no matter natural additive or the artificial additive. This is because food additive is added into our food that we eat every day. So after knowing the advantages of adding the food additive into our food, so what is the disadvantages of adding the natural or artificial additive in our food product in terms of safety or health issue? Can you explain about that?
for impact of adding both additive in our food, some people may get sensitive with particular additive and get some reactions such as their hair. For example, MSG, when we put MSG in our food for overdose, we can get dizziness and headache. And next, if for artificial color, it can cause allergy and asthma, while for artificial sweetener, it can cause behavioral problem, hyperactive and allergy. And lastly, for artificial sweetener, it can cause allergy and behavioral reaction.
And some food additive can also cause the harmful side effect. For example, the butylated hydroxyanisole, also known as the BHA, used in the baked food, potato chips, crackers, and cereals. It is classified by the U.S. Department of the Human Health Resources and as the preservative that reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen. Sulfites which are added in the baked food, wine, and the condiments also can cause the nausea, diarrhea, and the shortness of breath in some people.
So anything to be add on the disadvantages of food additive on the food product?
Okay. For me, additive is used in very many years ago for food, for coloring, for flavor, for preservative, for anti-caking, for emulsifier, and more. So for me, this I want to give some advice for us about the how to prevent the problem that we have today, such as diarrhea and so on. First, we need to read the label carefully and find what is actually the artificial additive that have in the product. If it have, we can avoid it buying it. And then we actually have need to well research about the additive and about this additive, but the additive problem that have in the food. So we can be careful when we decide to buy anything.
So nowadays, consumers like to buy the food that are labeled with the word natural other than the artificial. This is because they feel that the word natural are related or same with the safety, health, and wholesomeness. So in industrial, the marketers also like to label their food product with the word natural other than the artificial to imply that the superiority of their food product. So I wonder that is that natural additive is better than the artificial additive?
For me, most additives are synthetic compound, but does not mean that they inherently less safe than natural compound. The toxicity of any compound can be determined by the effect of the body, whether it is synthetic, produced in lab, and produced by a plant. It is interesting to note that many plants containing natural toxin. So some research say that we ingest at least 10,000 more than natural plant producing toxin than the artificial additive.
It is not necessary that the natural food additives is safer or better than the artificial additive. For example, the diacetyl, which is the chemical butter that used to provide the taste of buttery, and it is used in the microwave popcorn and is labeled as the artificial flavoring. But whether the flavor is come from the natural, such as the real butter, or made artificially that made in lab, it will cause the health effects. And in some cases, the natural additive is more dangerous than the artificial additive. For example, the natural flavor additive that extracted from the almonds may contain the toxic cyanide. The artificial had the taste and without the risk of contamination, without the undesirable flavoring.
So, anything to be add on this question that natural additive are always better than the artificial additive?
Okay, for me as a pesticide expert, you should know what is actually the additive that used in the product. You must know that the additive that used in the product has been recognized by Food and Drugs Administration. You can open the website and search the ingredient that have been approved by them. So when we have the well research about these ingredients, these ingredients, we can actually be aware about this problem. So that's all I want to say.
Thanks for the sharing. Before I wrap up, I would like to conclude that there are two types of food additive, namely natural additive and also the artificial additive. Food additives are used to enhance the texture, look, taste, and also increase the shelf life of the food product. And however, diarrhea or shortness of breath will occur if someone consumes the food additive that he is sensitive with. So the natural additive and the artificial additive have its own advantages and disadvantages. It doesn't necessarily that the natural additives are always better than the artificial additive. It depends on the effect of our body when we consume the food additive. So the consumer are encouraged to read the food labeling before they buy a food product. So thank you for your sharing and see you soon and thank you.